My name is Charles Harrell, and I'm here with Clarence Patrick Lynch
Yeah.
at the Orange County Nursing Home in Orange, Virginia. Thank you for granting this interview, Mr. Lynch. With me is Timmy Talley. I met Mr. Lynch at the Orange County Nursing Home through Timmy Talley and his mother. Mr. Lynch.
We were all natives who came through Canada.
So your background is Canadian?
Yeah, the background is Canadian. Of course, from Ireland, we went to a place up near Quebec. And they farmed us out, quit farm. We all quit the farms. So, they all quit the farms.
Can you tell us for the record your birth date?
July 27th, 1907. But in my birth certificate that I got shows July 7th. But I had an old Civil War doctor that probably didn't keep very good records.
Do you? What war did you serve in, sir?
That's the Second World War.
And what was your highest rank?
Sergeant.
Can you tell me briefly where you served?
Where I served?
Yes.
You mean from the start?
Yes.
I went to, of course, I went through Camp Upton.
Upton?
Yeah, and then from there I went to Mississippi.
Right.
And from Mississippi I went to Denver to, what's the name of that field? Well, anyway. And photography school. And from there I went to California. In California I was around a couple of bases before I finally ended up down in Hamilton Field.
At Hamilton Field, California.
Yeah, because that's when I started doing photography. Before that it wasn't.
And where did you go after you left Hamilton Field? About
I stayed there.
the whole war?
The whole war.
Okay.
That's, you know where it is. It's in the bay. Right in the bay.
Well, Mr. Lynch, I'd like to start back when you were a child. You mentioned already you remembered something about World War I.
World War One. I remember World War One.
Can you tell me?
I was a little kid around, and They had quite a celebration in 1914. The war was in 1912, but it didn't end until 1914. And they had that for the...
What celebration do you remember? Can you tell me about it?
What?
Can you tell me about this celebration?
No, I don't remember it much. I remember I was a little kid, and they had a big celebration. They had a barracks over there, Plattsburgh Barracks. It was finally went into a school, and went into a college, and then the Air Force took it over in World War II, and they kicked the college out.
Can you tell me about your father and mother?
My father was born in Canada, and so was my mother.
What were their names?
Patrick Lynch. My grandfather was another Patrick Lynch, and my mother was named Hanley. And wait a minute. No, hers was McCabe, but it was from the Hanley family. And I had a lot of relatives who were out through the West. Dick Hanley was a football coach at, I forgot what, at Northwestern, was it? Yeah. But they all went to they all left Canada and migrated out to the west and out through Minnesota. I had Minnesota, Nebraska, and so on, relatives that I had.
During the Great Depression, during the 1920s,
Yeah.
what did your father do for a living?
My father was a plumber. He always worked. He didn't worry about that. No.
During the
He finally, in his later years, He worked for the railroad as a plumber, for a pension and so on. And he always worked, but no, we had a home, and my grandfather, right next to my grandfather's house up there. I still own that house up there.
In Plattsburgh?
Yeah, in Plattsburgh. I still own the house up there in Plattsburgh. It's up there. And my grandfather had a house next door, and my father built a house right on that lot next to his, and we had a home up there.
During the 1920s, you said you wanted to go to college.
I did go to the University of Notre Dame for just 2 years, though.
What did you hope to be?
Well, I wanted to, I was in, what I didn't want to, I was in chemistry, and I didn't want to be in chemistry, but I couldn't go to civil engineering because they had to take you another course in the summertime, in field work, and I couldn't do that, so I couldn't take civil engineering. I took chemical engineering, and I wasn't too good at that, I'll tell you that. I was flunking out after 2 years, but anyway, then my brother had been to law school. He was in the law school when you could go right into law school without any pre-law. In other words, he went right into law school. In 3 years, he was a lawyer. But you didn't have to take pre-law in those days. But then now you have to take a pre-law course before you can get into law school.
Did your family have enough money to send the children to college?
No, my father was a plumber. No.
So how did you afford it?
What?
How did you afford going to school?
Well, I worked. Oh, I had a summer job at Hotel Champlain. It was just outside of Plattsburgh. They had one of the first golf courses in the country there, and it was all Jewish and Catholic clientele because the Lake Placid Club and the St. Regis Club up there were strictly Protestant, no. And so I had up there at the Hotel Champlain, there was Warner Brothers had a yacht down on the lake, there's motion picture people, and Saks Fifth Avenue and Gimbels and all those Jewish merchants, they all stayed there at that hotel and played golf.
And what was your job there?
And I was a baggage porter. I was the baggage porter downstairs.
And you were able to save up enough money to go to college?
You'll go to college the first couple of days. Then when the crash came, 1929, I crashed with. I didn't go to school after that.
Did you lose your money in a bank?
What?
Did the bank go out of business and you lose your money?
No. No, I had to work. I'd come out of there in the summer with about $700, which would help me through college, But I had to have help along with that. My father couldn't afford to put me through college. I had an older brother who was a lawyer. Well, both my brothers were lawyers. My younger brother and my older brother were attorneys. But they couldn't help. I was helping him live for a while when I was working. My older brother.
Right.
The younger brother, no. He was much younger, and we put him through no problem at all.
Did you have trouble finding a job after the stock market crash?
Well, no, I didn't have any trouble at all because it was there was a night clerk, apartment, hotel, you know, and I used to go to I could never go over to the is it Ebbetsfield in Brooklyn? Yeah. I never could get over to Ebbetsfield, but I go to the Polo Grounds or Yankee Stadium and play, watch them play. There was no night baseball then. You know,
Right.
no lights.
Had you moved to New York City?
I was in New York, sure. Yeah. And when I got that job with the apartment hotel, I had a place to live there. You know, downstairs in the place off the baggage room. There was 3 of us down in there, and we did all right.
Who were those other folks with you?
Pardon?
Who were the other guys who were with you?
Oh, I don't remember.
Don't remember?
No, they were. I know they were immigrants from Ireland. You know.
Did you get any type of government work during the Great Depression?
No. During the Great Depression,
Right.
I was in the service.
Okay.
The crash came. Wait a minute. We're wrong now. Where was the big crash? 1929.
29.
Yeah. I'd had a couple of years of college, and that was it.
And then you went to work as a baggage clerk.
Yeah, I worked at night clerk, and then I went back up north. I had a job in the summertime up there at this hotel, and I was doing all right then, even during the Depression.
When Pearl Harbor hit in 1941, had you anticipated us going to war before that time?
No, I don't think so. Pearl Harbor.
In 1941.
No. We were getting prepared, though. I know that. Because, who's the guy I'm trying to think of? Oh. No, I can't think of his name. We had a hotel right outside it, and right next to it was the Catholic Summer School of America. You probably never heard of that. But anyway, they had a number of cottages in there from different dioceses, Rochester, Albany, Buffalo, and so on. They all had their own cottages in that community up there. And they had a summer school and had really famous lecturers that came there to lecture at that
Summer school.
the Governor Al Smith and so on. They all lectured there at that summer school in America.
Did you see Al Smith?
Oh, I saw him quite a few times. Yeah.
How did you feel toward
I saw
him?
Roosevelt too.
Al Smith ran for president in 1928. Did you see him beforehand?
No, he got beat. He didn't have a chance. But after him came Roosevelt.
Did you see Roosevelt in it?
Oh, I've seen Roosevelt around a lot. Before you saw him, but you see him, he was crippled.
Right.
And he didn't walk, he came up there, I don't know, it was some celebration up there at McDonough Monument. There's a big monument in Plattsburgh up there. And that's McDonough's victory on Lake Champlain. And I remember him coming up, and he didn't get out of the car. You know, he stayed right in his car because he was crippled.
Did you get married before the war?
No, I never did get married.
Okay.
My brother-in-law died, and I helped to bring up a couple of kids. And I took care of the old folks. My father lived in about 87, I think it was, and my mother lived 93. So taking care of them, in all those years. When I came out of the service, before that I played golf a lot. I played golf, and you played golf because you caddied. In those days, they didn't have anybody to carry they had to get somebody to carry their bags. They didn't have any of this equipment that you have today, or carts or anything of that sort,
Was there any famous people you caddied for?
Who did I caddy for? Oh, there was a lot of well-known people that I caddied for. Yeah.
Do you remember before Pearl Harbor anything about Hitler?
No. No, I don't think so.
And then Pearl Harbor happened.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you were the first time you heard the news?
At Pearl Harbor? Yeah. No, I don't think I do either. But I remember going down after what I heard the news. I went down to the Monopole. That was a drinking place. And we all got together there. And we were all going in the service. We knew that after Pearl Harbor.
Did you have any good friends who immediately did go into the service?
My friends, we all got separated. Yeah, they all got separated. The younger ones could get in the service, and they wouldn't take me. They say you wait for the draft. So I was 35, I guess, at that time. They wanted 18-year-olds.
Did you have any one close friend that you had when you were in your 20s and 30s that you hung around with a lot?
No, I don't think so. Nobody real close.
When you went down,
I played golf with them,
right?
And we played golf all the while. No, nobody drinking buddies.
When you went down to enlist, they turned you away.
Yeah, that was February 19. When was the war started?
41, then 42.
42.
What did they tell you?
They said, we'll get you in the draft. I was too old. They didn't want me.
When did you get your draft notice?
Oh, I don't know.
Soon afterwards?
In probably April. Yeah. I think it was April that I went in. I think it was... No, and I didn't know. No, I'm wrong. I didn't go into around the 1st of July when I went in, because they drafted you and then they sent you home. Gave you 2 weeks, and then you finally had to show up down there.
When you did show up, where did you go?
Camp Upton. That was
Is that at Plattsburgh?
Camp Upton's down on Long Island.
And what was your first thoughts when you showed up at boot camp? What was going through your mind?
Not. I don't think so. I don't think it bothered me at all. No.
Do you remember the day that you first entered Army life?
No.
During boot camp at Camp Upton, and your first...
We did mostly KP work. That's what they were. They kept us in there and gave us a little bit of training, and we were taking care of the school, whatever they had there, and we were doing KP all the while. And when they finally moved out, I went down to Biloxi, Mississippi, and that's in Biloxi. That's where I went to school. No, I didn't. No, I had basic training.
At Biloxi?
In Biloxi, Mississippi. And we did mostly KP work rather than training, because they had schools there and they wanted to help in the kitchen.
You weren't going to school then?
No, I wasn't going to school. Then I went to, they said I wanted to go to at mechanic school. But I was going to stay there, and I wasn't going to stay there because it was July, and it was hotter than hell. No air conditioning, you know. And then they said, well, Denver, Colorado, there's a photography school, and that's where I went.
Had you ever done photography before?
No.
So you went for the weather.
Yep.
Do you remember the camp at Denver, what it was called?
Lowry Air Force Base, you mean?
Okay.
Yeah. Lowry, there was 3 bases right there. They're all schools.
How did you enjoy photography school?
Oh, God, that was fun. We had 3 shifts, and we didn't go to school until we went to school at night. You know, they had around three shifts in schools, and we went to school at night. I remember that, and they had 24-hour beer service. They never closed the beer bar because we all had different shifts, you know, and they never closed the beer bar, the bars.
Do you remember any friends you made there at Lowry Air Force Base?
No, I don't think so, because I lost them all. Yep, I lost all of the ones I did because we got all spread all over, you know.
What part of photography did you like best?
What did I do?
Yes.
Well, of course, taking pictures of celebrities was what I liked the best. But at that time, I worked in the lab. We had, and I would work. But at that time, everybody that was going through to go overseas, we photographed them with old clothes on or something of that sort. So when they got knocked down of any way, they had a photograph, and they could get them a passport of some kind, you know, if they had a photograph. And so we photographed all those guys going overseas. And they'd come over and they'd say, well, you want to take a picture of our plane? They were ready to go. They have the painting on the side of them. I don't know what you got. I don't think you got any in there with the painting on the side of them. And they were B-24s mostly, and some B-17s. And we photographed them, and they try to pay us for it, but we'd never take it. But we'd take a bottle of booze.
And this was during your training area, Lowry?
This was at in San Francisco.
Oh, in San Francisco.
Yeah.
After you went to school in Lowry in Denver for photography school, would you say you spent 6 months there or less?
I was there about 6 months, I think.
And then you were transferred to California?
Yeah, I finally made my way back out to California. I went through Salt Lake City, you know, the center, and I got to California, and I was in a couple of different, but very short time in different places in California up there. And anyway, I ended up, because of my photography background, I'd been through school. Yeah, that's me up there.
Is that the only picture of you in this book?
Yeah, what? Oh no, there's other pictures of me.
Okay. We'll find one here in a minute.
That was, what do you call them, leaving the, is that the one with the president? Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I took that picture. You could see the competition I had.
Yeah. A lot of people.
That was the start of the United Nations in San Francisco,
1945, right?
Yeah,
This is the guy, this is him, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's the one. That's the picture I took coming off the plane.
See if you can find him in another picture, preferably by himself. So, what Air Force base did you spend the most time at?
Hamilton Field.
Hamilton Field, and that's in
Yeah,
California.
That's where I ended up in Hamilton Field, and that was pretty near 2.5 years or something like that.
And that's it near San Francisco?
Yeah, Hamilton Field's right in the bay. Right in the bay. That was everybody landed in those days at that base. They couldn't take care of the service. They'd land there and they'd take off and go to I forgot the other base up there that would do the service for them. But there were so many coming in and out of that place that they couldn't give them the service.
And how long did you stay working in a lab?
What?
How long?
All the while I was there.
You weren't promoted up to working with taking photos?
I worked in the photo lab after that. And that's where I got discharged. There was 3 of us in the service. There were over 38 when the war ended. And we got all of that. We out.
What do you mean 38? I'm a little confused.
When the war ended, we were over 38. And they didn't, we were eligible for discharge right away.
Your age was over
38.
38.
We're over 38.
So you didn't have to worry about the number of points you might have?
None of that, no. They wouldn't send us overseas because if you got overseas and you were over 38, you could come back. So they didn't, we were too old. So there was 3 of us in the photo lab.
What were their names? Do you remember?
Oh, no. Oh, I would, somebody,
Is that you? Sure.
yeah, that's me.
Okay.
That's Mrs., that was the one with Mrs. No,
Oh, she's
Mrs. Roosevelt's in one of those.
Did you meet Miss Roosevelt by taking a photo with her?
No, I just took a photo of her.
Where was that? At Hamilton again?
These are all taken at Hamilton Field.
Make note of that one. We're going to find out on that before we're done. Okay. So, Mr. Lynch, can you tell me some other folks that you photographed? Important folks that...
No, except the ones in there. I used to run it. We used to run into Hap Arnold all the while. He was the 5-star general, and I got a picture of him with Tui Spats. We weren't supposed to take a picture of him because he was around all the way. Didn't want people to be bothered, So we left him alone. But when I saw him with Tui Spats that day, the war was over in Europe. And Tui Spats was the commander in Europe, 4-star general, and Hap Arnold was the 5. So I got the picture of the 2 of them together. That's the only time I think I took a picture of Hap Arnold, except when he was leaving the air base one night.
On the base, did you serve as anything else besides the photographer?
No.
Were you given any extra duty?
Oh, I did KP work and stuff like that, but outside of that, and then you had to go some kind of a school that they were talking about in the mountain.
Did you keep in touch with your family back home?
Oh yeah, always kept track.
How did you keep in touch with them?
Well, 2 letters. We didn't use telephone too much in those days, No.
Did you have anything that you kept for good luck?
I don't think so.
Did you go and see any entertainers during the war?
You know, I mean, see them afterward?
See them during the war,
Oh, yeah.
like the USO shows?
Yeah, like, what the hell is the name of them? I got a picture of her in there. I had quite a conversation with her because we had to wait. Oh. No, I can't. I could tell.
But it's in the book.
My
Though.
memory's not very good, you know.
It was in the book, though.
Yeah, I got pictures of them.
Did you go to a lot of these shows, or just a few?
What?
Did you go to a lot of USO shows?
Yeah. We had I think you got a picture of the outdoor theater that we got there at some point.
Okay.
And it was a big place, and they had a lot of entertainment going on there. And I remember we had a big fat gal in the lab. She was a really good photographer. She'd been with the New Orleans Picayune, and she quit and came into service.
She
had a drinking problem. So great big heavy gal, and we had her up there one night, and Abbott and Costello were putting on a show, and Abbott saw her, and she's a great big heavy girl, and he starts making fun of her. She's going to go up and beat him up, and we grabbed a hold of her. Yeah, we grabbed a hold of her.
Tim, once you get that thing scanned in, that picture of him, change to 600 resolution, just like it did that first picture.
Okay.
Do you recall any extremely humorous and funny things that happened while you were in service?
Well, yeah. We had a warrant officer, and he was ready to retire, and he had a drinking problem, and he was half focused half the time, and they shoved him over to us as our photo officer. Well, it didn't mean nothing, you know. He was in and out. He didn't do anything, but we painted his bars with fluorescent paint. And that was a big joke after that. Painted his bars with fluorescent paint. We had it, you know, you're in the lab, you have all these different spots of faucet and this thing. You know, all the other things are painted with fluorescent paint so you could see them in the dark. And we painted his bars with fluorescent paint. And he was the big joke after that.
In the lab, did you stay with the same group of people pretty much the whole 2.5 years?
Oh yeah, when we were processing guys to go overseas, at one time we didn't have the cameras that give you the small prints that they wanted you know to do, and anyway, we'd take those guys, they'd come through, and they put on some kind of a photo outfit, you know, to get their photographs so that they think they were a native over there if they got knocked down, you know. And they weren't dressed up at all, you know, no hat on or something or the other. And that's the thing, we were processing those. And I would stay in there and process them for 4 hours at a time, you know, these photographs of these people going through. And I did the development. I didn't do the printing at all. I did just the development. And then after that, we got these small cameras, you know, like this, where we could zing, 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 take small photos. But before that, we were 4x5s who were taking of these guys. And they got a 4x5, to carry with them if they got knocked down overseas. They had an old outfit to put on.
Did you have a girlfriend that you
No,
that you
I
were
didn't.
seeing?
No, while I was in the service. No. I never married, you know. I'm the single guy.
Was there any pranks that were pulled on you by other folks in the lab?
No, I don't think. I can't think of anything.
Did you change officers a lot?
Photo officers? Yeah. Yeah, we had it was just a job because they didn't need a photo officer. They didn't need an officer in there because it was well run, you know. We only had one photo officer that knew what the hell he was doing. And he worked for General Electric in the photo section, and I think it was Toledo, Ohio, or whatever it was. He knew what the hell he was doing. But outside of him, we didn't have any photo officers knew what the hell in other words, they just showed up and let us run the lab.
When the war was over and you got out of the service, where did you go?
Where did I go? I went back home, went back to my post. I had a post office job, you know, and I was back, and I was running the photos. Who's that? Come on in.
They're not ready. You work in a post office.
I went back working in the post office, and I ran the post office. Plattsburgh Air Force Base was going big then, because the war was not over yet, and you know, when the war ended, it really didn't end. You remember the Russians took over. And you remember when we had all that trouble in Berlin, and
The airlift. And
yeah, they had a helicopter that places into what's the name of the place in Berlin's the place, I guess. And the war wasn't over for quite a while there. I don't think did we do any bombing in those days?
Not after the
I
war.
don't think so. I don't know. I can't, you know, my memory's not that good.
Did you try to go to school, any extra school after the war was over?
I was too old. I thought of it. I thought of going to law school because my two brothers were lawyers, but I said, forget it. You know.
So what was your career after the war?
What was I doing? I went back to the post office and I ran the base post office there until I retired. I could have got a better job, but I was single. I had a good job, no problems, and I wouldn't take a promotion.
Did you join a veterans organization after the war?
Well, I wasn't American Legion, of course, but I wasn't eligible for the Veterans of Foreign Wars because I had never served overseas.
Did you?
But they made me an honorary member or something after. No.
Did you get any medals?
No. Just a good conduct medal, that's all. That's the only thing I got. I think I got some other medal, but I didn't. They don't mean that I'd never served overseas.
You don't recall the unit that you did serve with at the base?
In San Francisco?
Yes.
No.
Just called Camp Hamilton.
4th Air Force Base, was it?
4th Air Force?
I think it was 4th. I'm not sure,
Okay.
but I think it's the 4th Air Force Base.
Did the war? Well, let's ask you one more question. about the war. When the war ended in September 1945 and the Japs surrendered, do you recall that day?
Yeah.
And what did you do when you heard the news that the war was over?
What I remember most about that was the atomic bomb.
Can you tell me about that?
Well, we didn't even know that there was an atomic bomb. You know, we didn't know anything about that. That was top secret, and we didn't know anything about the atomic bomb. And when they bombed Hiroshima, that was a surprise really a surprise to us. But we knew then that the war was over, you know. And of course, a lot of criticism that they shouldn't have ever bombed Japan, but that was the only way to end the war. That was the only way to end the war.
Did you celebrate on that day anyway?
No, I don't remember much celebration at all. In fact, that was the night that they were looking for me. They didn't know where the hell I was. And I was in the lab sleeping. We had bunks in there, you know. And they were paging me, Sergeant Lynch, Sergeant Lynch. Hell, I was sleeping in the photo lab that night.
Did they ever give you a nickname while you were in the service?
No. Pat Lynch, of course. Yeah, my father's and my grandfather were Patrick, so naturally I inherited that.
Did the servicemen there at Camp Hamilton just call you Pat or Lynch?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to tell me that the Army affected you in any way for the rest of your life?
No, I don't think it affected me at all. I came out of it with I had no problems at all.
Any benefits?
Well, what did I have of benefits? No, I never did. I never got anything after that. I don't think so.
Is there anything else you would like to add that we have not covered in this interview?
No, I came out of this.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your recollections with me. And thank you very much.